Hello, and welcome to Counting Cryptids.
Wow. Welcome.
I'm Jacob,
I'm Connor.
and today we are talking about the Ogopogo.
That was very nice.
I'm getting right into it today, motherfuckers.
Well, we need to.
Well, before we actually get right into it, first of all, huge shout out to Connor for doing all of the work today. And also, we just posted an Instagram poll, as we do when we start recording every episode. What does that Instagram poll say, Connor?
I already forgot.
It is your mother an earwig or is your father a whale? Your choices are mother earwig or father whale. So right now you can't. We'll check back in on that in the no, not 2 weeks ago.
5
Not
days
2
ago.
weeks ago. Yeah, fucking not that long ago. Almost a week.
Transfer
6
yourself
days,
back
yes.
to June 14th, about 6 o'clock p.m.
Stop it. They can see behind the curtain, Connor. All right. So again, thank you, Connor, for doing all of the work today.
I want to say thank you to somebody else for doing all of the work.
Okay. I mean, also true.
Yeah. I gotta get his name right.
Bill?
He's got a Steswick. I'm
Wait,
going
what's
with
that-
Steswick.
What was that website?
It is ogopogoquest.com, and I got so much information.
If
from
that
there.
domain ever becomes available, you bet I'm gonna swoop that bitch.
He only snagged it in
immediately.
2003.
Oh, he's been sitting on it for fucking 16 years. He's not letting that shit go. Damn it. Well, if you listen to the show, you're welcome to come on anytime, Bill. I would love to have you.
Absolutely.
I would love to have you. All right, so once again, today we're talking about Ogopogo,
Yes.
which I guess I will let you introduce since, again, you did all of this research.
Ogopogo, just so you know, was like predates Nessie by like 7 years.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's known as Ogopogo to most, probably. It's also known as like Naitaka, I saw, and then there was one that I'm not even going to try to pronounce that started with an N.
Okay.
It would be, yeah, I'm not going to. But apparently Naitaka, which is what the Canadian folklore called it, meant the spirit of the lake, snake of the water, or water demon.
Is that like what the First Nation
Yeah,
people
yep.
called that? So I
Native
have
Canadians.
some understanding that is more of like understood as having been
More
folklore,
spiritual,
and then there were actual sightings of this later on, or of a sea creature later on in that same
area,
location.
yeah.
Just like as a coincidence, like not really having anything to do with
A physical.
the like
being.
apparently the two are often like combined into one. So a lot of the there's some watering down, some muddling of the information, combining of the two, where it might not necessarily be the case. But I also am not really 100% sure about that because, again, I did very little research.
I didn't have anything like that. But apparently the name Ogopogo, which according to historian Mark M. Orkin, the Orkin Man.
Fucking rad. I
he's-
wish I could pull off something like that with my name, but I can't. The only thing I do is like Red Man because I'm a ginger, but like...
No, I just gave him that name. It's not
Oh,
like
that was
something
just
he goes
you,
by,
dog. Fucking... All right, sick. All right.
He says Ogopogo, according to canon, comes from a night in 1924 when the strains of an English music hall song were first heard in the city of Vernon, British Columbia. He cites the following lines from the song: "His mother wears an earwig, his father was a whale, a little bit of head and hardly any tail. And Ogopogo was his name, oh."
A little bit of head and hardly any tail.
I don't see how any of that would be, like, that's a terrible, like, if that's your poem, that's awful.
It's like the most depressing rap song ever. A little bit of head and hardly any tail. At least you get a little bit of head out of it. Fuck it.
I mean,
So,
better not
but
get
that was where the name comes from in 1924.
yeah, apparently.
But when were the first sightings?
So the first sighting
By like
that was
Whitey.
yeah. Okay.
We're white. We're allowed to say that.
I was
That's
gonna
our
get.
word,
Can I
Connor.
get into some other things first?
All right, sorry, fuck.
We'll get on to the first.
Sorry, you want to go talk about Yu-Gi-Oh now?
Yeah, I do kind of. So the first Caucasian sighting was in 1873, and we'll get to that here in a minute. Jacob's insisting about the Caucasians while he's drinking his white person drink.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I feel like absinthe is a white person drink for sure. It's like a European thing, maybe.
So Ogopogo makes his first trading card game appearance.
Oh, we are talking about Yu-Gi-Oh!
On Yu-Gi-Oh! On the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card called Danger, Ogopogo in the set Savage Strike as part of the Danger, and I got a part of the Danger archetype. I got interested and wanted to see what it's worth, and the posting on Amazon said rare, 9 left, $2.50.
I definitely in my youth.
Do we need to go raid your closet over there?
I don't know if the Yu-Gi-Oh cards are in there. I know there's a lot of Pokemon cards over there. The Yu-Gi-Oh are probably in there. The card doesn't look particularly familiar to me. It does, but just because of the card itself, the colors and everything, I don't think the image looks familiar. I think that was later than I would have been into it.
Another place you can find the Ogopogo is...
Did we talk about where you find it at all?
No,
I don't think we did.
Not at all. We'll get into where.
It is a Canadian lake monster.
Yeah, so there is some statues and the Kelowna Rockets hockey team. Their logo is an Ogopogo.
The Ogopogo logo.
Anyway, in search of Ogopogo.
That's what ours was for season 1. What? We're rolling right past that? Okay, sorry.
Well, I mean, we really missed
We literally had an Ogopogo logo for season 1.
I mean, did we?
It was just a generic sea monster, but
yeah.
For all intents and purposes,
it
was
an
Ogopogo logo.
There are a handful of books written about Ogopogo where I'm never going to read them. But Arlene Gall has a couple, In Search of Ogopogo and Ogopogo, The True Story of the Okanagan Lake. $1 Million Monster.
So that would be the lake?
Yes.
Where you find it?
Yeah, you're gathering information about location right here, right now.
Yeah, but we need to kill time, so we need to
I got some information on the lake.
All right.
Just let me get through this other book.
All right.
Mary Moon. Who did the research here? Mary Moon's aptly named Ogopogo. That's her book name. Ogopogo. Jacob is sitting here getting drunk, and I am doing
Just turn my mic off and just stay here.
I should have stayed at home today. Anyway, yes, we are talking about Lake Okanagan.
Is that how you say that?
In English. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it right, but it looks like Okanagan.
No, it definitely does. I just didn't know if you had looked into that at all.
No, I didn't do that kind of research.
On your own?
That's
Nice.
your kind of thing.
Okay.
So just a little bit of information about the lake itself. It is in Canada. It is 100 miles from the North U.S. border.
From the border.
Yeah, but it's the north one, obviously, because Canada.
Because it's in Canada.
North.
Yeah, I get it.
Just laying out the geography. It is 84 miles long, or
84 miles long,
35 meters. 84 miles.
Okay.
Which to me seems quite large. It's between 2.5 to 3.1 miles wide.
Oh, it's 84 miles long. Okay.
So I would assume it flows from north to south.
Do lakes flow?
Whatever, dude. It has to go somewhere. So
it would. Well, part of it would drain into a river that would run south.
Right. So it flows from north
presumably.
to south.
I don't know if all lakes do that.
Yeah, but it is a fjord lake. Fjord lake. Fjord lake, which means that it's been glaciated away.
I did not know that.
You learn things here at Counting Cryptids. So quite long, quite large, quite wide. It is also pretty fucking deep. 250 feet or 76 meters deep on average. And then it's like the maximum depth is 641 feet or 232 meters.
I see 761 feet.
What did I say?
671?
Dyslexia. 761 feet, 232 meters.
Damn. That seems deep to me, but I have very little, I've actually zero diving experience and very little comprehension of that. I know 5,280 feet is a mile, so this is nowhere near that, but...
I jumped in a pool that was 10 feet deep. I thought that was pretty deep.
You go fucking touch the bottom, and then
feet.
you're panicking. Can I make it to the top? Yeah.
So yeah, pretty deep compared to your average swimming pool.
roughly 7.6 swimming pools deep. Oh, sorry, 76 swimming pools deep. I can math.
Glad you
God,
can.
roughly divide by 10. You just move a decimal place. It's 76.1 swimming pools if it goes 10 feet deep.
Yes. So just imagine that.
I need to stop talking.
There's a lot of room for a large beast.
All right, so we've talked very little about actually Ogopogo.
What is the beast?
What is okay, so I guess typically would be described as a 40 to 50 foot long sea serpent resembling an extinct Basilosaurus or Mosasaurus, which died off between 33 billion and 70 billion years ago. Both were around the same size, measuring in at 50 to 60 feet in length. It's a sea serpent, you know what I mean? It's what you'd expect, except for the head is described as being that of a horse or sometimes goat-like.
And see, like, I saw not a lot of mention of even descriptions of what they saw other than, like, waves. Not a lot of heads being described even that closely, but I did see a website say that it's often described as horse or goat-like.
I mean, a horse head is not that different from like what you would picture a sea monster's head to be. Yeah, like they have that elongated
nose,
face and then like the big nostrils at the end of it. The only defining thing that I'm thinking with both of those is there is definitively ears. Did you see any mention of ears anywhere?
I didn't know, and I would assume probably not. If it is a sea monster, I don't think.
I guess maybe if this was 7 years before the Loch Ness monster, there's not really like a comparison
something to go off
to
of,
like just like because nowadays like we're like sea monster and you kind of have like that weird dragon like head, but maybe that wasn't like a common depiction. So like the head was like a horse.
I saw a lot of like people describe it like snake like.
Okay,
so take from that what you will.
Horse like kind of just seems like a dragon head to me. That doesn't really seem like it's actually like any different than I had pictured it beforehand. Some reports that were closer encounters talk about feet or fins on it as well.
Yeah, which I thought was
feet seems super weird.
Fins make much more sense
for sure. Maybe there's weird looking fins.
Perhaps I would assume they look more like a Nessie, like.
But is that the case, or does Nessie look like Ogopogo?
Well, Nessie looks like Ogopogo, but I don't know. Some of them were more like serpent in description, like undulations in the water was a lot of the pictures.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't see long necks sticking out of the water like you would with.
Yeah, this one like there's just a lot of like there's photos that are of a lot of wakes.
It's
there's
not
a lot of
Lapras.
like displaced water. Well, there's a lot of displaced water in some of these photos that really look like something large is
moving
going through there, swimming through.
water,
So either like I can see that there is a boat in the background of this, but this wake is not from that boat because it is not yet over here. So I get that there's boats on the water. So unless somebody's just like, I'm gonna take a picture of a wake from a boat in this water and post it, like the boat would have been moving, but just a lot of still images that like could be just a wave that kind of look weird in the photo, like there's something there, but I'm pretty sure it's just a wave.
Yeah, apparently
sorry, getting sidetracked.
Time of year in which this was happening, there was a lot of boat traffic. It was like lesser boat traffic. So like let me see here. I put this at the end, but this is applicable now. So the best time to like see an Ogopogo is between like the end of the last week of August to the first week of October. That's when most of the sightings have occurred, according to Steckwick, whatever.
According to Ogopogo Quest.
Yeah. He also said that like boat traffic and changing of temperatures could also be a factor in why you're seeing more of the creature come out
with
per se.
Less boat traffic.
Okay. Yes, but there is also local lumber companies like moving logs over the water. So a lot of people think it's misidentification of a log or two together.
I get like in a photo that seeing a wave, like, oh, that doesn't really look like a wave in this photo.
Out of
but
place
like
wave.
when you're there, you know that's a wave, right? And like I don't think a log would. You don't have that undulating thing that you described before, right?
Correct.
Well, that seems odd.
Yeah, I don't know. One of the skeptics was it like a couple of logs, but a lot of them seem very. I mean, they're evenly spaced. It's not a weird assortment of logs, but maybe that has something to do with currents because I don't know how those fucking work either.
Is it a current in a lake?
I think it has to be. What else is it?
I mean, it's a big lake. Do lakes have a current?
They have to be moving, like in some way. Whether
Is that what? Oh my god! What does the word current mean?
I don't know.
A body of water or air
Yeah, there's air currents.
moving in a definite direction.
So either there's even currents on the surface, like air could be pushing it, and there'd be a
Yeah, I'm just
current.
a fucking idiot. Don't mind me.
I see you haven't finished your drink yet, Jacob.
It's already hitting me hard. You also have here that some people reported seeing the creature, saw it eating either fish or aquatic plants.
Yeah,
Just throw that in real quick because I don't know where else we're gonna put that.
I'm not sure what to do with that information. I saw that thrown out.
Well, that kind of just maybe like adds to like if it's a log, you wouldn't see a log that like if you're seeing it that close that you're seeing it eating. This is probably also the same people who are seeing it with like feet or fins. So you recognize that there is a shape in the water that is moving weirdly. You can identify a means of it moving around and also it feeding.
Yeah, it gives it more characteristics of a non-inanimate object.
Of a real thing, yeah, and actually being a sighting versus it being like a misidentification of an existing animal. Well, I mean, maybe not the case, but like a log or a wave in a shitty photo.
Yeah. Should we get on to the first Caucasian?
Should we get into some sightings? Yes,
reports?
let's do
Yeah.
that. Let's go,
There-
Whitey.
There's a shit ton of sightings, which surprised the fuck out of me. I knew it was like a pretty.
I think this is regarded as like one of the most credible of like quote unquote sea monster things, like the one that like actually like people would put some stock into.
We say, I feel like we say this a lot, or at least I say this a lot. Like it's hard to discredit that many people.
Definitely, and I think there was one sighting specifically. Yeah. I guess we'll talk about it's the second one that we have on here, but there was a lot of people. There's been several mass sightings.
Yeah.
Where there was a number of people who all witnessed the same thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. So let's get started with this first one. This one was recorded by a British Columbian pioneer and author by the name of Susan Allison back in 1873. Her sighting takes place near her home in West Kelowna, which is near the lake, I think. It comes up a lot in the research. West Kelowna. 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 Sorry, Canadians. She described a snake-like creature, which closely mirrored that of the native's tale of the Ogopogo or the Naitaka.
1873.
It's a minute ago.
Ugh, that's a really long time ago.
She was her family was one of the first, if not the first, settlers in Canada.
Really?
I could have made that up. I didn't have that in my notes, obviously. Just thought I saw something.
I was gonna say when was Canada like founded or established. I just said when was Canada. I decided that was enough for a Google search.
For you?
I got exactly what I wanted. July 1st, 1867. When did Canada become a country? So July 1st, 1867. So they're 1873.
The next one is the big one, though there are some other big ones, but this might be like the largest sighting of a lake monster.
Yes, this is like one of the mass sightings, specifically the one I was referring to a moment
and this
ago.
is quite a bit later. It is about 53 years later. My math is correct. It's probably
It's not.
1873.
It is exactly right. You're correct. That's 50. I concede.
53?
Yes, 53.
Okay. 1926 on September 16th. Apparently about 30 cars of people saw something in the Okanagan Mission, like in the Okanagan Lake on the Mission Beach. I really couldn't find a ton of information on this.
Specifically on like what they saw.
What they saw.
Yeah, people saw something.
Any of the, like people that were there commenting on it, a newspaper article. I'm also bad at research, so who knows?
I think I had that was at the Okanagan Mission Beach, specifically where that had occurred.
I said that. Thank you, though.
Oh, did you? I did not hear that get mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably said it really bad.
I don't really understand that because all it really says about it is just like people who all claim to have seen the same thing.
Like, raise your hands.
Yeah.
If you've seen the...
What is it that you saw? I don't really have a ton of information.
I need a description.
About that mass
something.
sighting, yeah.
But 30 cars of people.
That's tied to it. So,
60 people or so.
I would assume some have like 3 or 4 and some have maybe just
Yeah,
one.
one or two.
I would
on average,
I'd say
2
60
people
is
per
probably
car.
fair. 30 cars of people. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then in 1947, there was another mass sighting. So this is like 21 years after that last one. On the waters of the Okanagan Lake by a number of boaters. One witness, Mr. Cray, gave a detailed description. Cray said, quote, "It had a long, sinuous body, 30 feet in length, consisting of about 5 undulations.
Great word.
Apparently separated from each other in about 2-foot space, in which that part of the undulations would have been underwater. There appeared to be a forked tail of which only 1/2 came up above the water. From time to time, the whole thing submerged and came up again." So there's like the humps coming out of the water about 2 feet apart, moving. Sometimes it would go down completely and then come back up.
Like a serpent or a worm.
The way that you have, like you get like a fucking lawn ornament that looks like it's doing that from your yard because you set up like multiple pieces. So it's just like little humps that come out of the water.
Yeah, a Gyarados.
Always bring it back to Pokemon.
It's not a Lapras. It's a Gyarados.
Okay. I got to keep that in mind.
I mean, that's what
What is a Lapras?
A Lapras has a shell.
Yeah, it's like half turtle at that point.
But
it's just a turtle with a really long neck. It's a sea turtle with a huge neck. It has a beak. Am I just now realizing this?
I don't think it has a beak,
Bruh.
bro.
A beak in the way that a turtle has a beak.
Does it have a beak?
Bruh.
If you show me some, like... I mean, it's a beak-ish.
It's a beak in the way that a turtle has a beak.
It's kind of like a shark's
It is a sea turtle with a really long neck and, like, Princess Leia ears.
Okay, I'll give it to you. But it wouldn't be undulating, which is the big thing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have
Gyarados,
the
you're
humps.
right.
So, hope it's not a red Gyarados, though they are rare. That one brings up the fork tail.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about that yet. I think we just kind of said no tail.
Yeah,
little head, no tail.
Thinking kind of like a snake tail, would just kind of trails
I was thinking
off.
like a snake tongue, if it's forked.
Well, forked, yes, but prior to this sighting, I was thinking like just a snake tail, or like
that's an odd detail.
It is, and it would be horizontal. No, it would be vertical as opposed to horizontal, which doesn't make sense to me. If like it would have to be correct if it was sticking out of the water 2 feet, half of it was under.
I think so. That's a really weird way to move through water. Does anything actually do that?
Well, you have undulations going.
Does anything
vertically.
do that up and down?
I'm sure they. Yeah.
What? I can think of things that go side to side. I can't really think of anything that does that.
I'm sure there is. It's not an unrealistic way of moving through the water. Is all I'm going to say.
Dolphins jumping. Okay.
So yeah, dolphins have flat tails like that. Whales.
Ooh, it's almost forked. Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that.
So
not quite, but they have like the two. Yeah.
So unless it's like jumping in and out of the water like that, I don't.
30
know.
feet in length is obviously too big for a dolphin, but you get some big whales, so I can't say no. Forked tail seems weird. You can't really have an undulation with it unless it's like got pieces of it that are sticking up. But again, I think you see
a whale doesn't make sense in this instance.
No, it doesn't. And I know a lot of times when they talk about like the undulation specifically, where you have like those humps coming out of the water, like sea otters or things like that, like mammals being a case, because you have groups of them like traveling together and doing that, so it looks that way. So I know that's a big one too. But when you have these really, really close sightings of large things, and then you're also seeing this strange tail, that kind of seems like it would be less. It kind of adds more credence to like this is not that.
I think it's contradicting movement. Like if it is a sea animal, like a fish, like a shark swims with its tail vertically, and a whale swims like with its tail flat horizontally.
Because their tails face a different direction.
But if half of its tail is sticking up out of the water, then it has to be a vertical tail, but it's undulating. So those are two contradicting movements.
in my mind, it was more of like, oh shit, I don't really know.
Maybe I'm thinking of it wrong.
No, that's not a bad thought.
In 1959, a Mr. and Mrs. R.H. Miller and a Mrs. Pat Martin reported seeing a tremendous creature with a snake-like head and a blunt nose swimming some 250 feet behind their motorboat. The group watched the unknown creature for over 3 minutes before it submerged beneath the waves.
That's terrifying.
It gets scarier.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
In this specific sighting?
Not in that one.
Okay,
No, in a different one.
Hearing about this, I know it was featured in like I think it was like an iPhone commercial too, but there was like a video of a speedboat being chased by a hippopotamus.
Oh God!
You never saw that one?
I probably, maybe.
I'll put a link to it in the description. It's a couple years old at this point, but those bitches can swim fucking fast. But it's a fucking angry ass hippo chasing after a boat, and it's terrifying.
Like a speedboat?
Yeah.
Jesus, they're fast. I know they're fucking. They could like eat you whole.
Oh no, hippos are no fucking joke, man. They can run at speeds of up to 15 miles an hour with sprinting as fast as 30 miles an hour. That is out of water. I'm trying to find how fast they can swim. This is just running. They can outrun people, so you can't outrun a hippo. Have you seen the picture of the dude running from a hippo that's like 3 feet behind him?
I don't want to.
Because that one is also fucking. It is terrifying, man. Make your fucking palms sweat watching that shit. Let me see if I can find speed.
How do you escape from a hippopotamus?
You pretty much don't. I don't have any information about how fast they can swim on here. It says the name of it is Do Hippos Swim? How fast do they swim?
We don't know.
Well, they don't swim.
They just run her across the ground?
They don't swim in the water. Yeah, dude. This bitch just like pops out of the water.
Just breaches hard. That looks like it's in a lake. I just assumed they like were in like some mud.
Nope.
It's horrifying.
Middle of the water, a fucking hippo's chasing their ass down, dude.
I wouldn't know what to do. Like,
they can move pretty quick through water. I cannot find exact numbers, but apparently they don't actually swim. This one says they are extremely fast swimmers, but technically it's not swimming. I'm trying to figure out how fast they move through water. But I have that they can run. This just says hippos are extremely fast swimmers, and then there's like a link to a video or image, and it's like, well, that's fucking terrifying. And then real quick, there is a series of photos in this man running away from a hippo that is
it's a small
10
hippo.
feet behind him. That thing will fuck you up, dude. It don't matter. A small hippo, that thing still weighs 1,000 pounds.
It's the size of a fucking cow, but like for a hippo, like
oh, it looks like
small.
he kind of juked it.
You juked it.
It looked like he just like kind of. I don't think they can like turn really quick. That's what you're supposed to do. So I think alligators and crocodiles can outrun people as well. So you're supposed to kind of like run in like a zigzag fashion back and forth, so that way because they can't like do that very quickly.
Fast, yeah.
So I don't know if this is real or photoshopped, but there's a naked guy running from a hippo. I think he's got like I don't know if he's got a walkie-talkie in his hand or a knife, but this dude running from the hippo fucking frightens me. I'll post a link to this one in the description. I think. Oh god damn! This must have been before. Dude, there's some of these pictures. It's so fucking close to him. I have to imagine this dude died. I guess then in 1964, a photo was captured of Ogopogo. Maybe it is known as the Parmenter photo, and is pretty underwhelming. But it will be linked in the description, and is of the shittiest of qualities.
Thank you. Yes,
there is something in the water. This one I could definitely see just being a log.
Yeah.
But the website has a favicon of the Canadian flag, so it is trustworthy.
Yes. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. We'll revisit that website later.
Link in the description on that one.
So in 1968, Art Folden filmed what he claimed to be footage of the Ogopogo. Computer analysis concluded that the object filmed was a solid 3D object. Then it was apparently he had like heard some movement, seen something in the distance, and he grabbed his shitty home camera. Keep in mind this is 1968. His camera sucks dick. In 2005, a couple of investigations had been done between the time that he took this photo or took this video, but in 2005 is when they concluded that it had to be an animal of some sort, but the size of the creature was greatly overestimated, and it was probably just a fowl or like a waterfowl or a beaver that was just like way too far off, like in the distance to tell.
If it's way closer than it looks, a beaver kind of makes sense, or some sort of. I don't really see a bird. This video is weird because it kind of does look like a shark because it almost looks like you can see like that top of like a forked tail for a half a second.
Is it an otter?
Do otters have tails?
Is that its otter's feet? It is laying on its back. Most of its body is underwater and holding something up by its face. I might have been way too far away from the mic when I said that, but I think it's an otter in the distance.
What's the name of the lake?
Lake Okanagan. I tried to look to see what kind of fish were in the area.
There are otters prevalent in the lake. It says, whether you knew it or not, otters are everywhere in the Okanagan.
It's an otter to me.
I find it hard to believe that if you are looking out on the lake and you see an otter swimming, that you think it's 30 feet long.
There are people that...
We have said it many times on the show. People suck at estimating sizes. But an otter, if you're like 4 feet and you're estimating it to be 30, I understand that they believe in this, like, it's way smaller than it was estimated to be originally. But if you see something that you're like, that's fucking huge, I'm going to take a video of it. What the fuck is this?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying Art Fulden is a fucking con man.
Oh, okay.
He knew it wasn't a fucking thing, but he took this video and he's like, well,
he took a video of it and was like, yeah, this looks real shitty. They're
going to convince people that it's a lake monster.
Because at this point, Nessie's already a thing, too. There's already...
Yeah, this is
well
lake
past
7 years after.
Plus, this one is already... Ogopogo is already well known. There's been many mass sightings, a lot of sightings up until now. So this is 1968.
Got it. And there's a really good one that I just want to fucking tear into later. Like,
okay,
stoked on that one. But this one is... I feel similar. I don't know anything about Art Fulden, so I can't draw any conclusions as to whether this was like something to promote his business or something. Like, he didn't have in my mind, he doesn't have a reason to make this shit up, but I can't outrule it. Later, this guy, I'm onto this motherfucker.
So the story goes, in 1968, the very first film of Ogopogo was taken by sawmill worker Art Fulden. He had been driving along the Okanagan and glanced at the lake, and he noticed something strange in the water. What Fulden saw was near the shore, and he pointed the sighting out to his wife. He stopped the car and got out to take film of the disturbance. The creature would dive under the water and then reappear. Upon each reappearance, Fulden shot his film. The video shows the creature moving from the shore into deeper waters of the lake, finally diving under for good. By estimating the height of the trees on the shore, it can calculated the length of the animal that Foley filmed. Foley is not his name. Foley filmed was about 40 feet, approximately the same size as the monster of Loch Ness. This mysterycasebook.com has a lot of typos on here, but I just read that all straight from there.
Can I add
There's a photo
there?
of him on here as well. I might try to remember to take a link to because of his fucking excellent 1968 glasses. He looks like every photo of your grandpa. Not you specifically, listener.
I mean, but yeah,
your grandpa.
Actually, that is my grandpa.
Your grandpa is
okay.
Art
So he says
Fulden?
it dives and he takes a picture, or it dives and
when it goes away, and then when it comes back, he starts recording a video again, and then it dives, and then it comes back, he starts recording the video again. Eventually, it dives and it's gone.
What do otters eat?
I think a lot of stuff, but I know like you're talking about stuff on the bottom, so you're talking specifically about like shellfish when they come up and then they break it on their belly and things. Yeah,
that's what I see in this fucking video. Regardless of what that guy says, if it's close to the shore, I don't know how far away he is from the shore, but in my mind, I can't, like you said, it's a fucking maybe 3-foot otter.
Real quick, I wanna shout out to the author of this article on mysterycasebook.com. It is BJ Booth.
I think I left that one out of my stories.
It was written by BJ Booth. I'm just gonna leave that as it is. BJ Booth.
You think he knows?
I think he changed his last name from Glory Hole and just went by BJ Booth. Defamation lawsuit. So years later in 1976, the next photo would be added to the collection of Ogopogo photos. This one was taken by a guy named Ed Fletcher, and although more than a decade of photo technology has passed, his photo skills suck.
Yeah, look at this fucking one.
But I will pull this photo up.
Isn't that
that is
of Canada?
Very, 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 very pixelated. It might not be his photo. This looks like it was
black and white.
So what this looks like to me is like there was a photo somewhere that somebody like put somewhere, and then it was like screenshot, and then they added a stroke, and then it was put somewhere else, and then somebody took a screenshot of that, and then like zoomed in on it really far, and this is just the outcome of that. That's what this screams to me. I don't know that this is the original photo.
Like there is a border around. Like,
yeah, this was screenshot from somewhere for sure. Like I deal with this shit all the time for work. Like I know what I'm looking for in this instance, and like I can tell you, like this is probably what this is. So
do you think it could have been a good photo though?
It probably wasn't fantastic. It was probably really, really small, which is why it zoomed in so far. So my guess would be, yeah, exactly. See, this is probably the original right here. It's this tiny one, same border and everything. The one that you sent me was just zoomed in really far on that, or it's the exact same one. Same thing, but these people were at least kind enough to crop that bullshit out. This one doesn't have a border. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I'm guessing the original was just, yeah, here we go. This is probably the original. It's probably just not a fantastic photo. It looks like it's scanned onto the internet from a book or some sort of printed source.
Probably.
And then was just like, it was like a 292 pixel by 188 pixel image that has just been like blown up and used a bunch of times. So the quality of it has degraded a lot.
The last one was dookie as well.
So this one,
I can't see how it would be logs unless it's a very like.
I also can't really see how it would be logs. Otters, I don't see either. This one's tough.
I mean, judging by the photo that I'm looking at that I had linked, I have no fucking idea. Honestly, it could be a shadow.
It's a little bit easier to see. It looks more like it's rocks. You know what I mean? Like a rock thing out there, but it's definitely not because you notice it all the time.
If that is the original one, that looks like it's just a real shit camera.
This isn't the original. It's been blown out a little bit still, but
to me, it looks like the waves somehow are darkened.
Oh, like a shadow of a wave? You're not wrong.
Yeah, it's weird, but looks like a wave to me.
You are not wrong.
It's a weird contrast. It's
I would say you're probably right on that one. That one looks like a wave.
There's
a little bit, yeah.
A little bit of a wave to the left, off a bit of the thing that is pretty dark.
2 or 3 otters swimming next to each other, kind of as an example of that shape, right?
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah,
that's a hard blow.
Very, very similar. I'm gonna post a link of the
the otters for sure. That is a must. That kind of just busts the balls for me right now. We're not even close to done.
Ooh, okay, so we're gonna wait on that then. Okay.
Yeah, let's move on to October 1978.
Yes.
So this is the man, the myth, the fucking legend, Bill Steshwick. I really wish I knew.
Why do you keep throwing an S in there that isn't there?
I just feel like the I after the C makes it an S-y sound. Steshwick. I'm going with Steshwick. It sounds nice.
All right. You're probably fucking right, and he's gonna write it and be like, "Yeah, Connor's right. Jacob's an asshole."
Fucking nailed it, bro. So apparently this is his first sighting in 1978. He was
first sighting.
He's seen it twice.
Dog.
I'm gonna continue. His first sighting was in 1978. His second one is 2002. I'll get to the 2002 one in a second.
Okay.
He was crossing the bridge in his car. He was crossing the bridge from the west side of Okanagan Lake towards Kalauna. I don't know. The one that keeps coming up. He caught a movement in the lake, stopped his car, which stopped traffic behind him. He put his hazards on and was like, I'm fucking stopping here because this is some shit.
Bitch, I see Ogopogo. Get out my way.
He got out, went to the railings to observe what appeared to be 3 black lumps.
My humps.
A head with 3 black humps behind it. And it was about 60 meters away from him. It was a good distance. It's not right there. The cars behind him who had to stop got out, looked at the railing, and apparently saw this as well. So here's another very large sighting.
Then there are 20 people or something like that?
Yeah. They watched the creature swim for nearly a minute before it didn't went underneath the surface. Jesus. It turned Steshwick into a believer, and he ended up creating a website in 2003, which we are reading directly off of. Many, if not all, sightings from this podcast come from that. We definitely are going to add our own shit in here, but he's got a lot of stories over there. Go to ogopogoquest.com.
Link in the description.
Definitely
Shout out. Thanks, Bill.
I'm not going to read all 35 of the
no, if you want to go check out more,
there's
there's a lot on there. So also with this one, there was quote a substantial wake left when it finally dove out of view for the last time. Which is so to me, this one seems like definitely something was there. Where some of the other photos were like, "No, that's bullshit. That's a wave," or that photo kind of looks like a wave.
That could be some otters
leaving the substantial. I don't see otters leaving a substantial wake.
No,
I don't see this one as being just waves awake. Like some of the other photos that we have alleged maybe aren't really actually that. I don't see an otter leaving a very large wake when it goes under. Or a group of otters. I do not see that happen.
Time.
If they're like moving in such a way that like they look like it's like a couple of different humps going and then they go, like they're already wet. I feel like they're kind of slick and smooth, like it would have been doing that whole thing the entire time anyway. That seems uncharacteristic to me, though I am not a biologist of any kind. I am not a scientist, nor am I a doctor or know anything about otters.
And that they disappeared. It's not like an otter or a family of otters to just go under the water. Disappear.
I mean, they're mammals; they have to come up for air, right?
Right.
Do they live in dens the same way that beavers do?
Like with holes underneath the water?
They do live in dens built by other animals, typically, such as beavers. That are dug into the ground and have many channels and dry inner chambers. Yeah, fucking.
I think they're brutal as
otters
fuck,
are dicks.
Actually.
We talked about this in the Do Otters episode, I believe.
Did we? Yeah.
Because otters are fucking assholes. They're really, really rapey.
Super rapey.
Really rapey.
Ugh.
Yeah. Big oof.
They're
the
so
biggest
cute.
of oofs. So he had another sighting you mentioned in 2002?
2002. So he was filming a documentary on the Ogopogo.
Convenient.
He had a crew of 12 other people, I believe, and they were filming like right near where they got the first sighting. Apparently they weren't filming.
He had a 12-man film crew with him.
Didn't catch
all
this
13
sighting.
of them witnessed it, but they did not capture it on film.
Not that I know of. Maybe
I'd like to have a word
is.
with that cameraman. 2002, so that's
24 years difference in sightings.
I mean, it was 17 years ago, so at this point, that guy's got to be like 50 or 60. So yeah, I need to have a word with him.
He definitely is still alive. I messaged him today, maybe.
No, Bill. Yeah, I meant the cameraman.
Oh, the cameraman.
I need to have a word with the cameraman for not having his
sir,
camera on.
You fucked up.
I mean, at least he didn't slaughter a pig for it, a baby pig for it, but whatever. So in 2018, a man named Jerry came forth to Ogopogo Quest with a terrifying story from the 1970s of a possible Ogopogo encounter. He writes, quote, "My family lived in Peachland in the 70s and 80s. We always were out swimming, canoeing, hiking, etc. on or around Lake Okanagan. One day in August of either 1974 or 1975, at about 11 a.m. or 12 noon, we loaded up the canoe with food, swimming gear, safety vests, and a change of clothes. We launched from what was then the downtown Peachland bus terminal and trailer park area. The weather was sunny and clear blue skies, calm still grass like waters, with no wind and clear visibility. Our plans were to canoe to the other side and then head north to the old bridge area in Kelowna.
Hard to say.
As we approached the middle of the lake, there was a sound. I don't know how to describe the sound. Something like a large fish, whale, or seal moving through the water. So you do know how to describe the sound. As quickly as we heard the sound, our canoe was rocking back and forth and side to side. Same thing. Waves in the water around the canoe came out of nowhere like a whirlpool. The force of the waves came into the canoe, and we capsized and were thrown into the water. It happened so fast that we were in panic. As we struggled to hang on to the canoe, we felt strong currents in the water. Then we saw and felt something brush up against our feet underneath the water and surface several times, not far from us, heading north towards the Kelowna Bridge. From waves, currents, and force of it, reminded us of a big ferry.
Continue, please.
What?
Please continue.
Okay, I thought you were getting annoyed. We were still being tossed around. Then finally it submerged, with the waves pushing us and our own efforts. We got to shore on the other side, still hanging on to the canoe. As we regained our strength, a native woman came to us. We told her what happened. She said that it was the Ogopogo. We were lucky that it was not aggressive and didn't hurt us. Real quick, I'm gonna say this is bullshit.
Did Will Shatner change his name to Jerry?
So what I'm gonna say
Jerry?
about this is like, I understand that you have like some like if something very like if something like this happened, like you might have
a very vivid memory of it.
Yeah, I don't think I would. I think it would be very, very quick, and I'd be like, something tipped over the fucking boat. Like this is decently written and seems like the kind of thing that somebody went over with a fine-tooth comb.
Like William Shatner.
I to me, the way like a lot of the others was like, 30 people saw something in the water that they said was a lake monster, and this one is just like, it goes on for fucking ever, and then like it happened to be like a native woman walked up to us and told us that it was Ogopogo. I can't definitively say that this is bullshit, but what I'm gonna say is that this is bullshit.
We were lucky that it was not aggressive.
Man, yeah, like to me, like it just seems. There's
definitely
something
how
about
you fucking read it.
Okay, that could just be fucking part of it. Like I'm an asshole for reading it that way, but I can own up to that. It's just to me, it's
picked through with a fine-tooth comb for sure.
You can have an experience and write in very well about it. And I get like, okay, cool. Like this was in 2018 that he reported this sighting that happened in the 70s.
74, 75.
74, 75. So it's a long time coming. I could get where you'd like have a lot of time like thinking about this experience and being able to put it into like a different thing and like really describing it when you put it in. But like, god damn, dude, like really?
I think maybe he's just trying to make it sound too believable.
That's where I'm at with this too. Is it's like,
does that mean
at around 11 a.m. or noon, we loaded up the canoe with food, swimming gear, safety vests, and a change of clothes. I don't fucking care. You're just adding to it at this point, right? Like I get some people are just kind of like over-explainers and they're gonna paint a picture and like do all this stuff. Something about this leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's all I'm gonna say. After reading this leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
I've been sitting at the submit story page on the website. I know how that man feels. I could see having a story and having a memory and thinking about it to write in here, and you want to get it right, and you want to provide as much detail as possible so that it's believable. This guy might have gone a little overboard, honestly, but
I think you reach a point though where you surpass like, I'm trying to make this believable, and now you have reached an overkill stance where that paints you as a fraud.
This is going to be a 2-hour podcast.
Fucking good. I would love to. If this is the longest podcast we've ever done, fucking great. I would love that. No, literally, no. Fuck that. Fuck that noise. I'll post a 4-hour podcast for all I care. Literally, I give no shits.
Unedited, uncut version of Counting Cryptids.
That's gonna be rough. Nobody's gonna listen to this shit.
2 people.
I maybe am a bit of a cynic on this one.
You have to be.
A lot of the things in here seem like the native woman came to help us. Like this at the end seems awfully convenient.
Very true.
And granted, like I can see. Maybe I'm being a bit too cynical about this, but I just like I have a bad taste in my mouth like with this one. You know what I mean?
I've got a theory.
Okay.
I think Jerry writes for like a TV show that does reenactments of real things. I'm not going to say whether or not I think he does it.
Also, 15 years after the website was set up initially, he decided it was finally time to write in.
I mean, maybe you don't know about it, but this lady was just like, this is a fucking Ogopogo. Just lays it on the table for you. If you didn't know what an Ogopogo was at all, I can see you dwelling on this. Like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? All right. She says it's an Ogopogo, you're going to look into it. Guaranteed. If something scared you this
all right, you're
going
to look into it, but it's 1974, 1975. You don't have anywhere to go look at it. You don't have the internet, so you can go to a library and look at like old newspaper reportings, perhaps. I don't really know what your thing is. You just kind of hold on to that for a while. I'll give you that. Like you've been sitting on it for a while.
He has moved away from the area, so it's not like he could talk to locals that have had experiences like some of these other people 2 years ago. I'm giving this guy the benefit of the doubt.
Maybe I'm being a little bit too cynical, but I have a bad taste in my mouth.
I understand where you're coming from.
It's one of those things where it's like you have over-explained yourself, and it's like, I get it. You want to be an author, you're writing a short story. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Man. Like, maybe that's just me being a dick because like that's my persona. That's who I am. Like, I'm an asshole. That's fine. I've come to terms with that. So this next story though.
This one is
you wanna hit this one? Yeah.
This is another one that I believe was submitted to ogopogoquest.com.
Okay.
This one, I feel like for some reason, this one gives me the Southern Belle. I don't know what regatta time is, but it just sounds like it might be like some lady from the South in a big dress talking about an Ogopogo. And I don't even know if it's a boy or girl.
Okay,
Anyway,
so a regatta is a sporting event consisting of a series of boats or yachts, like in a race.
so 100%
It's
it's
a boat
yacht
race.
club, bitch.
Yeah. Like, okay. It's Canadian Yacht Club, bitch.
It was right around regatta time. July 24th, 1981, around 1 p.m. Very specific.
It's not a yacht, it's a rented ski boat, Connor.
We're in a rented ski boat, and we're running on the west side of the lake in the vicinity of Peachland, just a bit northwest of the tip of Rattlesnake Island. There are two islands, I believe, in Okanagan.
I thought you were both going to say that, and they're both called Rattlesnake Island.
No, I think one is Rattlesnake Island
Does-
and one is Peachland.
Does one have peaches and the other one has rattlesnakes?
Wow.
Because that would be fucking
Maybe
rad.
it's like Iceland and Greenland. You go to Peachland and there's snakes. Could you imagine?
That may be the funniest thing you've ever said on this show. I fucking love that so much.
Back to the quote.
Okay.
A water skier had just passed us going fast in the opposite direction to us when suddenly a creature surfaced directly in front of us, facing a northeasterly direction. We saw no head, just a body, my thoughts being that the head might be lying flat just below the surface. At first, I thought it was the wake of another boat, but then realized that the boat's wake was going the other direction. As we came closer, the creature broke into a fast-paced, undulating motion. I pointed our boat directly at it, but as we neared it, the creature dove, causing a large, frothy whirlpool. I turned the boat around and could see the creature 2 or 3 feet below in the water. It moved at great speed, at least halfway across the lake before it dove deeper and out of sight. The creature was at least 50 feet long and seemed to be either a very dark green or black.
I don't know if we mentioned this before, but dark green, black, and like maybe pale sometimes is like the kind of colors that it's described as. This one seems interesting to me because, like, at first when you talk about this, like, oh yeah, a water skier just passes, like, it's just the waves from the boat look weird, like, right?
Yeah, it collided
But then
with
she's
yours
like,
somehow.
I happened to notice that the wake from the boat, from the water skier, was going this way, but like this thing was going a completely different direction. So that's interesting. And if you hadn't yet passed it, the wake wouldn't be colliding with your boat up ahead from where you were looking. So also the large frothy whirlpool is a little bit weird, but again, kind of just seems like the sort of thing that can happen if you have two separate waves colliding into one another, but also if you have something going
just
down.
going
Yeah,
down
100% that would also happen in that instance as well. So
definitely.
I can't. This one seems a little bit more. I would put a little bit more stock in this one than the last one we just talked about. Just because like they are on the water on a boat. They mentioned the wake from the other boat having just passed them already, which like maybe is overkill in the story you don't need to include, but at the same time you're like, here's the part where you would doubt me, but here's the reason why I think that this is not the case, what I saw.
It's pretty short, sweet, to the point. There's no...
It's not fucking 5 paragraphs of fucking fluff. This one, I would put more stock in than the last one we read, but this one seems... This is 1981? This is interesting. Do we have anything else from the 80s? Yes, posted in 2018 from 1986. Quote, I have not reported the story publicly before now, as it is just too unbelievable. The sighting occurred in late July of 1986. I was paddling a canoe near Ellison Province Park, and my 2 girls were trolling for fish. They were about 8 and 10 years old at the time. Since it was dusk and the stars were beginning to be visible, we began to head towards the dog beach at Ellison to head back towards camp.
Rubbing me the wrong way already.
Yeah. It was a warm night, the lake was smooth as glass, and it was a very quiet evening with no motorboaters. Just gonna let that sit for you. We were about 100 meters out from the beach when we noticed a rounded object on the water. The object was not moving. Thinking it was something like a play toy or an inner tube, I decided to paddle over and investigate. As we approached, the first thing I noticed was a strong fishy smell, really, in the middle of a lake. When the bow of the canoe was within a meter or so of the object, we noticed it was about 1 foot wide by 4 feet long and had 2 rows of arrowhead-shaped scales running its length. It was dark green in color. We sat there for a few seconds, and I asked the kids to reel in their lines. Then we heard a kind of moaning or low growling noise. We realized that about 10 to 15 meters further ahead was a large head facing away from us, silhouetted against the dusk sky. The head appeared to be... Did I do something wrong, or is it just a story? Okay.
Story.
The head appeared to be about the same size of a horse's head, and it appeared to have a horizontal, conical shape structure like horns. So this is probably where we get the horse head description.
This guy's horns or something on it.
That's interesting, because that's the first I've really heard about horns. So bringing it back towards Lapras. My kids turned to ask what this was, and I said, the Ogopogo. At this juncture, realizing what I had just said, my hair stood up. My older daughter freaked out and demanded we head to shore. The creature appeared to notice that we were there and slowly moved away. It did not move with any undulation, but moved slowly with the head and hump in the same position. Its movement seemed consistent with the idea of a large body under the water, and likely under my canoe, and long folding neck. After moving off about 50 meters, it turned as if to take a look at us, and then it submerged. This whole incident lasted about 2 minutes. I did not have a camera in the boat with me, but I was too shocked to think of trying to use it. I did have a camera in the boat with me, but I was too shocked to think of trying to use it. This leaves less of a bad taste in my mouth than the other one. It's
more.
less... To me, this one is
Quite wordy.
It's less wordy than the other one. The first paragraph itself, there's a couple of sentences that's like, I haven't said anything about it before. This is when it happened. I was out with my girls. We were fishing. Here's where we were. This is about the time of day it was. It was quiet. There wasn't anybody else out there. This is how far away we were. Then we saw something out there. I kind of went over to it, and then all of a sudden we saw more pieces of it.
Adding in that they're 8 and 10 years old at the time doesn't add anything to the story for me.
I don't know your kids. I don't know how old they are now. 100%.
Don't care. Doesn't matter how old
this
they
one
are.
is less wordy to me and is less bad than the last one that I just read. However,
since it was dusk and the stars were beginning to be visible,
it's dark out, so I have to question your visibility. You have kids, so you're presumably older. I'm going to say 10 years old. I'm going to say if they had a kid roughly the same time you were, this man is at least over 30 years old.
Maybe it's just how some people think that they have to turn.
And again, this is another one too, where it's like he witnessed it allegedly in 1986 and didn't write about it until 2018. So Homeboy's been stewing on this for like 30 years. So this dude's like 60 now before he's writing it. So 60-year-olds have a different way of writing in to tell a story than like I would if it's like, yo, I saw this fucking thing. I'm a fucking millennial. I'm just gonna say fuck and shit and YOLO or something stupid. I don't know.
Welcome to the podcast.
I don't say those things. I just say fuck a lot.
YOLO.
So, okay, keep in mind, this guy's got to be in his 60s then. If this story is legitimate, If we say this man is roughly 30 at the time that this happened, I don't see that being unrealistic if he had his first child at roughly at the age of 20. I don't really know his life story, so I'm just going to kind of...
See, and okay, I was thinking maybe it's because I don't know anything about who wrote this, other than he's got daughters that are 8 and 10. I don't have any background information on him to know what he's like as a person.
That's kind of the way that
what
it is
makes this
here.
hard. It doesn't even. I don't think he even has a fucking name, so I can't even put Jerry with it.
So what I'm gonna say, do you think having I'm gonna ask you a question. Does having no name make it more or less credible to you?
It shouldn't. I get that you'd want to submit something like this anonymously because you don't want the ridicule, but it for some reason like lets me down that you're not confident in your story being real, that you wouldn't put your name on it.
Well, but also, okay, what does it matter if you put your name on it? I'm a 70-year-old man who
shouldn't.
saw something 30 years ago. What does it matter if you know I have done nothing notable? I have not seen it since. There's nothing else. What do you need to know my name for?
I would like to at least know what his life is like in that time. Is he visiting for vacation? It's a one-time thing.
He's out there fishing with his kids.
Back. Or he lives there, and he's been in the area. He knows about Ogopogo.
He knows about Ogopogo already while he's out there. So I'm going to throw that out there.
He says
that's the thing. That's already, yeah, 100%. So what I'm going to say is he is from the area. He's out there fishing with his daughters.
His kids are like, he's like, it's an Ogopogo.
It's
and
the Ogopogo.
Like,
and the one freaks out. So she probably has some understanding of it as well. So I'm thinking they're relatively local.
Yes. Okay. Which, does that make it more believable or less?
You'd be familiar with the story, so it depends on the kind of person. So some people would be like more susceptible to be like, I saw something in the water. It was the Ogopogo. And other people's like, I don't know. I saw something once, but like I don't have any proof or like any real reason to believe that it was a fucking lake monster when like there's likely was just like a log or something. It's just like when we were in Kansas and we saw that weird thing in the water that we don't really know what was. Like we haven't we run off like reporting sightings or like talking about any of that or anything, but like we definitely saw something that like both of us happened to see something that was like, and then you happen to be like, that was weird. I'm like, you saw that too. So like we both independently saw something happen in the water, but we're not like writing in about it or like, you know what I mean? Like
Cryptids podcast. Yeah, we brought it up numerous times.
We brought it up maybe once before, but like we're not like, you know what I mean? It's different. We've brought it up in like this context.
Right.
It's not like the kind of thing that we're like writing into like, I'm claiming that I know what this is. Like at first when I'm seeing this, I'm like, okay, it's dark, so it's hard to see.
Yes.
1 foot wide, 4 feet long, and then you notice that it's actually longer than that. So my first thing was when I'm seeing this, I'm like, initially, otters. But then you start talking about arrowhead-shaped scales running the length. That's not an otter. Could it be some sort of fish? It's near dusk, so you have more active fish trying to get up to the surface to feed on bugs and other things like that. So that's the best time for fishing is dawn and dusk. Everybody knows this. That's the time you go. You go early, you go late. That's when you get fish. That's when you get bugs. That's when you get fish. So I guess maybe Ogopogo is a lake monster, so presumably would be time for feeding for that as well. So I guess I don't know. This one rubs you wrong. I can't really say much more about it other than this one doesn't seem quite as bad to me as some of the other ones.
I mean, as we're talking through it, it becomes, I can see where it leaning more towards the side of a real event and not a story made up by William Shatner, aka Jerry.
Maybe part of that's the way that I read it. But I mean, and again, he's like, I did have a camera with me in the boat, but I didn't really think to use it. I saw a thing and like I had my kids with me. Like she was freaking out. It was time to go. I didn't think to take a picture. I get it. Why would you even bring up that you had it and didn't use it? If you know what I mean? Why do you bring that up?
Maybe I'm just being like super like hard on these people.
I'm fucking flip-flopping because 2 stories ago I'm being like the most cynical asshole ever, and this one's I'm like, give it a chance, Connor.
We're just switching it up.
I don't know what it is. That one just fucking rubbed me awfully just the wrong way. And this one does not seem as like, again, this one seems more like authentic. An older person, like a 70-year-old man has been stewing on this for 30 years and just finally found somewhere where he's like, yeah, I can submit this here. He maybe should have fucking gotten onto the internet a little bit sooner than he did, but fine, he's old.
Jerry was the boat one, yes, and the boat got knocked over. That's a memorable moment.
100%, not undisputed, but that one is the same situation where it's like, at this point, I don't know how old he is, but in the 70s, so that's 40 years ago. He's old enough to remember this. He's got to be at least 50, probably, again, in his 70s, roughly the same age.
And I guess if it shocked you so hard that you didn't even think to grab your camera, that you might stew on this for a while.
Yeah,
because you're like, I had a fucking camera, bro.
So, yeah, and I mean, if this guy's an author and he's like, I'm telling this story now, or you know what I mean, somewhat like I fucking write episode descriptions and stuff, and I rewrite that shit 100 times. Like I want it to sound right. So if you're gonna submit something, I get that you want it to tell a story and you want it to grab your attention and all that stuff. But when you do that, it seems to take away from the credibility of the story just a little bit when you're adding in a bunch of minute details that don't seem to make sense. And the story is really convenient in a number of ways. And this is the only time that we have any incidents of anybody like almost being attacked. It knocked over your canoe.
See, this is the disconnect in text writing. I can't get a feeling for this guy whatsoever. Like, yeah, maybe his voice is great on paper, but 10 out of 10 times I'm gonna
And then when you listen to him tell the story, does he say the exact same thing every single time? Does the story change a little bit every single time? Because both of those are kind of indicators of like, because sometimes when people like, I have a story and I'm going to stick to it to a T. This is how I do it. This is a routine. This is an act. This is what it is. Sometimes it changes a little bit, and then you start to muddle some details, and then you don't really know what's real. So this is fucking difficult, and I don't feel like this has ever been as much of an issue on this show as it is right now.
Yeah.
So, 2019 already, Connor.
I didn't add a lot from
2 days ago from when we are recording this, Connor.
Before we get there, I'm going to read you another one because we've been on this flip flop. This one you haven't heard.
Okay.
Unless you've read this.
Probably not.
Okay. So this one is 2006. Keep in mind, listeners, there are tons more stories. Ones quite a few with pictures of something, i.e. the March 2014 one. Look at that picture. Pretty sure it's just a duck. But 2006, Jill Jellett from Peachland writes about a sighting on June 27th, 2006 in Summerland. My husband and I were eating dinner at Shawneezy's, might be a rapper, Bay Marina restaurant.
This is what we call Sean now. It's just
Shawneezy.
Opening Discord right now. Continue.
So my husband and I were eating dinner at Shawneezy's Bay Marina restaurant in Summerland, which is a lakeside restaurant. I was facing south towards the right-hand side of this cove. I had been watching a person throw something for a golden retriever dog. He was swimming out and fetching it. This went on for a while. Then they left. The evening was still very still. No boats out. The water was flat. Then something in the same area caught my eye. I thought the dog was back, but this thing was a different color and shape. It rose straight up out of the water about 3 feet. I asked my husband, whose back was to it, if there were any seals here in the lake. He said no, they were only in salt water. So I said, then what's that? At that point, it raised up about 5 feet plus 5 foot. At that point, it raised up about 5+ feet straight up. It appeared to be smooth, and the color and texture reminded me of a seal. It was facing away from me, so I did not get a frontal view. It was rounded, not a pointed nose like a seal, and then it went straight down again, as silently as it had raised. This was no fish. I had seen sturgeon in Ontario. This wasn't a sturgeon. I would estimate it was about 14 inches thick, using the dog as an estimate. I wish I had brought my camera.
Yeah, what kind of dog was it again, real quick? Was it golden?
Golden retriever
dog.
All right,
so where I'm at with this one does not seem as bullshitty as some of the other ones that we have gone through. This one seems more straightforward. Like, this woman actually saw something. Jill,
I don't know what it is. Jill Gillette.
So again, this kind of seems like otter to me, because she would have described it as a seal. She was looking where a dog was. It's a different color as the dog. It looks a little bit different. A foot wide. I don't know. How big is a seal, man? Or excuse me, an otter.
If it's 4 feet tall, then it probably...
Well, it rose up. Okay. If she's bad at estimating, because everybody is bad at estimating. Everybody's bad at estimating. If we're going to say that she's bad at estimating and it was actually 3 feet, can an otter stick 3.5 feet out of the water and be a foot wide?
I don't know why it would.
I don't either, but at the same time, like, if I'm playing devil's advocate here, and we know that otter are abundantly in that lake.
She says seal. It reminded her
of a seal.
And he said no. Are you doing a quick search on whether seal are...
No, he said seal. No, that's fine. It's not a seal. But I'm just looking up a picture of a seal and an otter next to one another. And I mean, they both have whiskers, and they're both mammals, so they have like kind of large offset eyes. A seal has a bigger nose, but seals also have flippers.
I could see a seal like that sticking out of the water 4 feet.
Yeah, that seal is probably a decent size, but I don't believe that seal are native there. You may encounter bear, deer, moose, wild cougar, puma, cat, bighorn sheep. Jesus Christ. Wild or feral horses, rattlesnakes. What are you guys doing at this place? What the fuck, Canada? When did you turn into Australia?
This is the Wild West of Canada right here.
What
there is
the
Southern
fuck?
Belles on boats
doing
and
their yacht races.
Yeah, Yacht Club Southern Belles of Canada. There's probably bars with the flappy doors.
Yo, the forked tail is a thing for seals, elephant seals.
That's what I'm saying. This sighting for sure seems like it could be a seal. Seals are
But
quite
as
large.
far as I can tell, they are not native to the area.
I can't find a fucking thing on seals in Lake Okanagan.
I can't either. I'm doing some pretty interesting digging right now.
The husband says that there aren't any seals. Leads me to believe.
But I think so. When I looked up that otters were in there, it's like, despite what you think, yes, they exist. They're not like a really common thing to see, but they are there.
They're definitely there.
Very prevalent. Exclusively in freshwater bodies. Baikal.
Lake Baikal? It definitely seals.
The Baikal seal, yeah.
It's connected to the ocean, though. Keep in mind this.
But it's still freshwater.
It is freshwater.
In Alaska,
there are freshwater seals for sure.
Colonies of common seal live in some lakes, such as seals of Liamna Lake, Alaska, that were trapped there a long time ago. I can't find any specific information.
Do seals swim in packs?
I think they kind of stick in groups. Yeah,
it looks like a seal, and it's an.
Most often, seals live alone, but are sometimes form groups. The seals may swim short distances for food, but do not migrate. Scientists have tagged the seals. Okay, that's specifically harbor seals. But what I'm thinking too is seals are found off of water a lot of the time. There's not a natural predator in that lake for seals. You would see them on the shore, often hanging out on rocks as seals do.
Even if it was only a family of, say, 5.
You would, I think if the husband was asked, and if I'm searching for it, I can find the otter are there, and I'm not finding anything with a really quick Google search. I don't believe that seal exists in that lake. So initially that says otter, but there are some things in that. It seemed like it was bigger than the dog. I don't see an otter being bigger than a golden. Like that's a big ass fucking otter. Because goldens could be like 80 fucking pounds, man. Like that's a decent sized dog for sure.
I would not get an otter, and I used to have a black lab. I would not get the two.
Casey
combined.
was a big ass dog, dude.
A little fatty.
Casey was. I remember you fucking dog hop.
Yeah,
dog hop.
Dog hop.
It was like the first video I ever took on my flip phone. Was you fucking jumping over your dog on a skateboard? Yeah, I hate trying to rule all these out all the time, but there's so many of them. I have to kind of like keep track of where I'm at each one as I go.
Yeah, they're all very different. They really are different.
And if you are already aware of the like at this point, you're aware of Ogopogo, right? If you're hanging out there all the time, you live nearby, whatever, you're aware of the legend of Ogopogo.
Honestly, possibly if you're even visiting, it could be a one-time thing.
If you have any sort of if you have any sort of like lake monster, and you see something like you see a dog out there swimming, and then it's no longer the dog, like, oh, that definitely doesn't look the same. Like, what is this? You know what I mean? You get a brief encounter. I'm not saying that. I believe that this woman, Jill, I believe her name was, saw something, but I don't know. Like initially, again, this screams otter to me because otter is really, really pushing hard on a lot of these.
But a 4 foot out of the water otter, unless it's in air,
out of the water otter,
reaching like a whale or a dolphin, maybe. But I don't think they do that. They play around in the water, and they lay on their backs. That's what otters do. And I think you would notice if it, like, she didn't say it like quickly went up. It like emerged from the water.
There are several species of freshwater like dolphin. Also, one is pink river dolphin or Boto, the Amazon river dolphin, which not really anywhere near where we're looking at. Everywhere that I'm seeing where these kind of things would live would be like further, not like.
I don't know anything about dolphins, but I would assume that probably like warmer water a little bit better.
That's what it seems for the freshwater ones specifically anyway.
They are mammals.
Are there any freshwater dolphins in Canada?
They are mammals, so they would need warm water to circulate their blood. Is that how humans work?
Well, yeah, but they have a lot of like whales have a lot of blubber, so you'll have animals that are mammals that still exist in
cold
the Arctic.
Water,
I believe seals specifically, like we were just talking about, like seals live there. They have all those whales, whale sharks. I don't know if dolphins really end up that far into the cold, but I'm not really 100% certain.
I have to rule out dolphin though. Like it's
I don't believe that dolphin are native to there. It would be a cryptid in and of itself if there was a dolphin that was just in that lake, and that's what people were saying. So if that's the case, fucking weird, but cool. So I think that brings us back up to 2019, 2 days ago. I think you posted this in
about
Discord,
everywhere.
right? Oh, you posted everywhere, all over social media.
I posted it on the social medias.
Okay. Well, let's.
Oh man,
Well, you
let's
tell
get
me
into
about this one then.
Okay, so if you've seen the video, it apparently arrived. I believe it was first posted on June 12th by Global something. It doesn't matter; they're not important. But
It was captioned on a cell phone by Jim Laroche.
yes, Jim Laroche, who is a liquor store owner. Apparently, they had an interview with the guy on the fucking report video. He took a picture, or he took a cell phone video of what he thinks is an Ogopogo. Like, he is pretty fucking convinced, and he's convinced apparently a ton of people that it's real. Like, he has people like coming to his liquor store to like just watch the video on his phone, like in the fucking. He's got the cameras on him, and people are like,
"You want to see the video? You got to buy 3 bottles."
You gotta watch the video.
So I'm watching it right now.
Watch it.
And it is like 5. What I will say, props to Homeboy for pulling out his photo and taking a video straight away. And it's on a newer camera.
New age,
so
yeah.
it's like an iPhone, you know what I mean? Like the quality is decent. A lot of people, actually it looks like an Android to me. So shout out to not using iOS.
I'm on a Mac.
To me it's otters. Looking at it, I look like I can see one flipping its head out. And then another one flipping its head up and going down. I think it's otters swimming. If that's a wave, that's really, really localized, and that seems very, very odd. Anyway, continue with your story before I shit on this too much.
Let me watch it again.
Yeah.
Let me refresh a bit. Go ahead. So his son is in a canoe, pretty fucking close. I would really like to hear what the son has to say, but he's not brought up in the video whatsoever.
His son is in a canoe close to it. As he is taking a video from the dock?
Yes. I can't see a source of the waves whatsoever.
I see a boat in the background, but it's too far away. And it's going a different direction. Oh, okay. The dude's sitting in a kayak. Yeah. So he's out there filming his son. His son's kind of looking over at it, too.
His son is definitely, like, observing what he sees. But I really think it's a wave. It just looks weird. Maybe some weird reflections off the sun.
There is a single point. There's 2 points in this video where I see the second hump, and then I believe it was the 4th one, maybe the 5th one. It kind of looks like it like flips its head up a little bit and then goes down. Like in my mind, if those are otters, I'm not sure the plural on that. Probably just otters. There's like the second one kind of. It looks like it kind of like before it dives, it like kind of kicks its head up a little bit.
I think his big thing is like.
I don't believe that it is a wave.
Looks like a flipper. Like series of flippers.
And now I'm looking at a shitty video, so again, it's hard for me to. Well, it's not hard for me. I'm fucking very, very easy to criticize it, but you know what I mean. It's easy for me to criticize it from here, but like if I saw something, I think I would be like, "What the fuck?" But man, I don't know.
Can I say it's not giving off any wake? It is a wave. It is not giving off any wake. It looks like a wave that is dissipating. It might be like folding on itself.
That does not look like waves to me. No, because it's not like rippling out other directions. It's going one very specific direction, and those are all following the same line. Those are all one after another.
If it was what he claims it is, which is fins, there would be waves pushing out from that. There is not.
They're not. It wouldn't. Okay, if you're canoeing and you're fucking or kayaking and you go to the paddle is very hydrodynamic. So like when you put it in the water, you don't have like a lot of disturbance of the water from doing that.
I'm just going to go with these two guys that reported on it, which was Dr. Robert Young, an environmental scientist. He says that it could just be a wave. He describes some really weird sorts of waves, like waves coming up from like below or something interesting. And also, Bill Steswick took a look at the video and is in this video that'll be in the description. He's not convinced either, and he's seeing videos. He's seen videos. He lives in the area. He's
the curator of the website since 2003. If anybody is like the foremost expert on Ogopogo, like it's probably this homeboy. Like Bill is probably the dude. So,
this go-to guy.
I remember when you originally posted this, we were kind of talking about it a little bit in the Discord, and you had said that the guy kind of seemed like he had...
Oh, yeah.
How did you word this?
So this fucking guy, he works at a bar.
Liquor store.
A liquor store. Yes,
He owns the liquor store.
he owns it.
He is the liquor store owner.
He in the video is showing people his phone, and he looks very excited.
As you would. Okay. Hear me out. We'll just use Bigfoot as an example because that's the kind of thing like if you've been here at Bigfoot store, like do you have any idea the first Bigfoot story you've heard? No. It's just a thing that you've fucking known about like your entire life and you don't know why. Bigfoot is just one of those things that you have. So like in this area, I assume Ogopogo is just like this is something you've heard about your whole fucking life, and then this guy happens to catch a video of it. Like he's just tickled pink by it. As I would be. If I caught something on video, I'd be fucking stoked. You think he's playing into it for some publicity for his liquor store?
I really think so.
That's a very odd publicity stunt to get people to come in and buy liquor.
It's popular in the area. People traveling there to see the Ogopogo specifically, you're going to hear this guy's story, and they're going to go to his fucking liquor store and buy liquor.
Now, I get that all advertising is good advertising, or all publicity is good publicity. But and in the area, you're right, 100%. But how many people are going like really? How many people do you think are like, this guy has a video on his phone that I have already seen of this because of this news site and because of the internet, because I am interested in this already. I'm going to go talk to this man and watch his video.
You think they just show up at the liquor store and he's like, hey, you want to check out this video? Like, it's Ogopogo.
I hate to do this to you, Greg, but like if it was my father-in-law, like put yourself in that position.
Put myself in Greg's shoes.
No, not even that. Like if Greg owned a liquor store
and had a video of
a cryptid that was like really, really well known to the area.
To you and me, I think 100% he would.
Yeah, but
piss his pants to show us.
No, yeah, for sure. But he's also just like the kind of guy to go talk to strangers about nothing for no reason. Yes,
I would agree.
He literally did that last weekend. He literally just did this last weekend.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother.
He
did buy us a beer out of it, so that's fine. That's fine. Yes. So, but you know what I mean? Like, put yourself in like frame him more as like that kind of person, where it's like he's just the kind of person that like just goes and have a conversation with strangers anyway. So like it's the kind of thing. It's like it's local folklore. Like you know what I mean? Like if somebody brings it up anyway, or you know what I mean? Like there's other ways you can feel that situation out, or a lot of other things. Like maybe this will have to get cut out. I don't know. I'm really not trying to talk shit about you, Greg. Like,
it's really hard for me to grasp that
mentality.
Mindset,
yeah, 100%.
Because we're sitting in a basement,
the absolute opposite
and I only
of that.
talk to Jacob.
Literally, I want nothing to do with anyone else like ever. I'm just like I just like fucking hide in a corner. Even at work, I'm just in my own office upstairs, away from everybody else. Like I'm just quarantined off from the rest of the world, and that's fine.
I have a very few people that I interact with.
It's a different
enjoyably.
There's just different kind of people, and in this instance, like the way I'm seeing this guy, like all excited about, like talking about it and everything. Like I see my father-in-law, like just a little bit. Like I see my father-in-law in the way that this dude is just like talking to random people and like younger people with like tattoos and stuff. You know what I mean? Like in his liquor store, he's like showing them videos, and it's the youth, you know, like that sort of thing. I don't know. It's just, it seems...
Okay, get this. Let's take out the fact that it's a cryptid. What if it's something else?
Also, okay, real quick, this was 2 days ago.
Yeah, this is
fresh. If you saw something that you're like, I can't explain this. If you saw a fucking Bigfoot video at work, would you go in tomorrow and be like, hey, look at this video. What do you think this is? Not to customers necessarily, but if you don't work with anybody else, maybe to customers.
I'd like to know if he'd reached out to the company or not. Like,
to the news source?
Yeah.
Or if he just posted it online?
I don't see like, you know, the typical Twitter post or Facebook video.
Like this latest fucking the little Dobby sighting that's just a kid running around with underwear on his head.
That's what you think. I think it's still a puppet.
No, I thought that originally, but now I can't unsee what I have seen, and I think it's a kid just like with his underwear pulled up really high and a t-shirt tied around his head. I'll link to this video on this. I'm almost certain it's just a child running around doing some goofy ass little fucking dance. Like it's something my brother would have done. Like a little chicken dance, flop his fucking feet around with a t-shirt tied around his head, running around in the dark with his underwear on.
There are other stories. We're
not going to go through them all. There's just 35 on that website alone.
Don't have time, especially at the rate we're going.
It's been rough.
Happening. I know. There are quite a few in the 2000s that have photos going with them and this and that and
the other thing.
Yeah, we just don't have time. I would love to. There's one
an episode
Google
of those
Earth.
Conspiracy Guys, all right?
Google Earth in 2016, which is very strange. It could be a boa. Something weird sticking out of the water. 2014, it might be a goose. This one in 2006, right after the one that I read from Gillette.
Yeah.
Is interesting. It's September 7th. It looks like a shark.
Photo.
It's very interesting. It's very small.
So yeah. That one almost looks like a dust cloud in the water, like some dirt got disturbed.
I can see where you can see an eye up on the left. I can see maybe a fin, another fin below, and maybe a tail. I can't explain what this white thing is. I just don't understand. I don't know what that is. If that's part of it or just a result of the wave or its
We'll
tail.
have to post this picture since we're talking about it.
Yeah.
There's many more. If you're interested, obviously go check it out. We'll have links to this one in the description. So
yeah, just go to ogopogoquest.com and go to sightings, and there's 35 listed right there. Some with pictures, some without.
Let's move off of stories then. Do you have any like suggestions as to like possibly like what the fuck could this be? I know we've talked about otters a lot,
a bit,
and logs,
water, literally any wildlife.
Fish.
Like I said, local timber companies use the area to transport logs through the water, so it's not unrealistic for that to happen. There is a lot of wildlife. It is a large lake.
All right. So you know that thing you can do with a pencil where you make it look like it's rubber? You move it with your fingers and simultaneously move it up and down with your hand. Could you do that in the water with a fucking tree?
Not in the water, underneath the water, yes.
But when it's on the surface, you wouldn't really have it be that case.
It's not undulating between the surface and underwater.
Oh, being over and under simultaneously? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, Stesuix, Will, what's his name?
Bill. His name's William because his email is W, but he goes by Bill, so we'll call him Bill.
Bill. His theory on the creature, and he is a total believer that it is, not a log, not something. It is something out of the ordinary.
Exists. Yeah.
Is that eons ago the lake was open to the ocean, which allowed a large like plesiosaur or like another ancient monster, like I described in the beginning, the Basilosaurus or the Mosasaurus. I believe you talked about that.
I did, yes.
Made its way into the area when the waters receded back to the oceans and like to its current levels. The current from the thing like trapped it in the lake, couldn't get out, stuck there until this day. I think that is kind of, I mean, that's pretty similar to like Loch Ness, which that's another fucking series of podcasts, but like something along those lines. The two ancient beasts, the Basilosaurus and the Mosasaurus, aren't what I would describe or what I think of the Ogopogo as. They're not exactly serpent. They're more like your predating alligators type.
Yeah, they look more like a plesiosaur.
I feel like a plesiosaur has a little longer neck. That one's I feel like that one's more like
a plesiosaur does have a longer neck. A Leopleurodon.
The Leopleurodon, Charlie.
Yeah, more like a Leopleurodon, where it kind of has like an alligator-esque head and flippers. Fuck alligators, by the way. Real quick, also an eon. Definition of an eon, in case you were wondering how long ago an eon was.
Longer than the Earth has been
around. An eon is a really, really super long, impossible to measure length of time. 4 hours ago is not an eon.
Or a million years ago.
All I got is just it is an
million.
immeasurable amount of time. Just 33 billion years ago. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. But I don't know why you would say eons, like with an S, like plural, like it is a set amount of time, like hundreds and hundreds of years ago, millions of years ago, eons ago, an eon ago. I guess maybe you would word it as
I can't knock Bill. This was on not even on his website. This was from a different website.
Yeah. I was
like not even quoting him. But yeah, where are you at? What do you think this is?
Well, real quick, we never talked about the statues.
I mentioned statues.
Okay, they're statues.
There's a couple of statues.
I'm confused at this point because I want to say otter pretty hard. I'm if I have to give like a conventional explanation, otter for sure.
It's hard to give one that spans all of the stories.
That's where I'm at too, because like when you have people seeing it from like very close and they're describing it as having scales, and describing it as being like, I'm really close to it and this thing is 30 feet long. Or like it has feet or flippers. Like I can't, like some of these things don't make sense in all instances. Some of these don't seem as credible as others. It's tough.
Yeah. And it's hard.
Now, I'm going to throw this out here too. We had mentioned briefly that there is a little bit of difference between the like the native Canadian like folklore, like of like the spirit of the lake versus the lake monster that is Ogopogo.
Yeah.
I've heard some suggestion where you can start to talk about like Topa territory because you have this spiritual sort of thing, and then you have like a manifestation of that. So I don't know if this is like, again, like you could have an instance of like mass hysteria, like if you have 30 cars worth of people driving by, and there's
somebody
6 or 7
yells Ogopogo,
and there's 7 otters swimming across the way, and you're like, yeah, dude, I fucking saw it too. Like it was weird. And 100%, if it looks fucking weird and you're that far away, like yeah, if you don't have this conventional explanation that I don't think was brought on until more recent years.
Somebody has just provided you an answer with what that is, and he got
again.
out of his
I have
car and
a
yelled it.
very compelling photo of otter that I will try to make sure gets linked in the description.
That was a large turning point for me. Was that photo?
Yeah,
because that, so especially coinciding with the one that we were looking at, that was really shit quality.
Yes. Very very similar. There are a number of things that I can't explain. The forked tail, could that just be feet behind it? I don't know. Again, the way that it was described, it kind of seemed more like a shark fin sort of scenario, like you were discussing. Or, I mean, there's some instances where they're talking about it being very seal-like. When you say seal-like, it doesn't seem unrealistic that could just be a misidentification of like an otter. It's a super otter. You know what I mean? We're going back to Doarku at this point. Like, I've never been here, and I don't want to offend anybody by being like, I don't think so.
But the lake has the range and the depth to hold something that large. I don't think it's anywhere near like the Great Lakes. That is a very large mass of water. And I'm sure there's a cryptid. I'm sure there's sightings similar in the Great Lakes that I haven't even researched yet. But this one's not
Lake
connected
Superior
to the ocean.
is 31.699 thousand.
It's like, oh my god, miles squared? What? Yeah, let me look up specifically how big Lake Superior. Lake Superior is 31,700 miles squared, 394.8 miles in length.
Can you look up Sailorville? I want to get something that I am familiar with to compare.
The Great Lakes are like almost a fucking ocean.
Well, yeah, I'm aware, but 84
The area
miles.
is 9.266 miles squared. Lake Superior was
What, there's
37,000?
31,000 miles squared.
And that's Sailorville.
Sailorville is 9.266 miles squared, 54 miles in length.
So it's much.
350 miles in length for Lake Superior.
Okanagan is
84 miles
much
in length.
larger than Sailorville.
It is 30 miles longer.
Sailorville is not large. You can see across it.
So Okanagan Lake is 135.5 meters squared.
Quite a bit larger. So it's very large.
Yeah, because the area of Sailorville is 9.2, and this is 135.5.
Can I throw another comparison in there?
Yeah. But again, real quick, Lake Superior is 31,000, whereas this is 135.5.
Lake Nessie.
Loch Ness.
Yes.
You want to know how big Loch Ness is?
Yeah. To compare it with Okanagan.
So the area is 21.78 meters squared, and the length is 22.56 miles. So Lake Okanagan is much larger than Loch Ness.
But I think the thing with Nessie is it kind of travels between lakes.
I think with that one, there is some underground caverns that then lead to
different areas,
other places.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton of information about the
we have not done that information.
stuff about the lake on this one, and that I don't think that about Nessie was until more recently as well that they kind of discovered that. I think there was like an episode of Monster Quest or something where a homeboy fucking like dove down and explored part of one of those.
There's been sonar.
It was a pretty good fucking
lake.
episode if I remember correctly, but I was maybe like 15 when I saw it. So
when we do an episode series about Loch Ness monster.
Just do react videos. Counting Cryptids react to Monster Quest. I don't fucking know.
That's what we're just turning this channel into.
Into a fucking clickbait YouTube channel.
Yep,
Sick.
yep.
Let's go. That's how you make money in 2019, even though
It
we don't
is.
monetize. Where are you at on this, man? Do you think it is an ancient marine reptile?
I will say I have not been convinced that, like, via videos or pictures or anything, that this exists.
There is some interesting evidence for sure.
There's
some
some
interesting
interesting
photos
occurrences,
and
for
interesting
sure.
stories, but I can't
I have nothing
easily
to go
explain
off. Yeah.
any of that away. Nothing stands out to me to the point of like I cannot explain this to the point where like I have to concede.
I gotta respect Bill Steshwick.
Yeah, 100%.
For gathering all these, and I'm sure he's gotten more than the 35 or so listed on his website
Yeah,
that he's picked through. But to me, some of those are, like we did in the episode, fairly easy to dismiss.
or very vague.
Right.
Not a lot of information,
Especially the early ones.
or some of them with way too much information. So it's very hard to say.
Even the pictures and photos, I've seen pictures of alleged heads, and
They vary so much. Some of them are like really, really flat, like a snake, and other ones
are rounded like
you have
a
that more
fucking-
like horse shape
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck they call it. You know, it's which a seal's head is close-ish to a horse, but not quite as elongated. But again, with horse, I'm just picturing a dragon.
logs. They can take weird shapes. They're not straight all the time. I have to put my foot in the camp of logs.
You think it's logs?
There is lumber companies moving logs across that area. I can see.
So is it just like fish or otter hanging out next to the logs and underneath them that when people are coming close enough to it that they're seeing scales in some spot, or they're seeing bits of the bark on the logs that look as though they're scales, and then they're also seeing fins of like a fish underneath it, and then they're seeing like an otter head? Because that's kind of like a weird combination of stuff that you're just like seeing in the middle of a lake anyway. And I get when you're seeing a log, it's floating. If it's
Yes.
sinking, it's sunk to the bottom.
You're not
Seeing it in the middle of sinking. It's either going to be floating. So when you have the people that are really close, that is very difficult for me to write off unless they're just straight faking it.
But I didn't. I have to go off video and photographic evidence. I have nothing to compare what you just said with something. I can't.
There's no
feel.
photographic evidence of something that is that close.
I can't even feel the sincerity through your text. Whether or not you're lying, you're making this up for profit, you're making it up for fun, and maybe you believe it. Still, I can't tell that through you writing it, and I wish I could, but like I have to base off my thoughts off of the photos and pictures and videos, and they can either easily be explained by waves, otters, or wood. And the fact that there's 3 different things, I definitely think that the craze around Ogopogo could make you believe that what you just saw, if it was a wave or something unexplicable, that it was the Ogopogo, because that's in your head.
And you start to run into like mass hysteria, something where like you see something that's far enough away that you can't really tell what it is, and one person suggests that or claims that it's that, and then everybody else is like, oh my god, you're right, like I've heard stories about this thing, I know that it exists here or is supposed to exist here, and now I'm seeing this, and now I have had my own Ogopogo sighting, so I'm going to then report my Ogopogo sighting as having seen an Ogopogo.
It's like seeing a shadow at night in your closet that freaks you out.
I mean, to be fair, I've had lights in my room that I can't explain.
I can't explain those either.
You weren't there though, so
Right.
it's you have to take me
I
at
have
face
to take
value,
you at
but
face
also
value.
like you know me
But
very well,
I know
so
you.
like it's a little bit different in this
You're not
specific
texting
instance.
this to me.
Yeah. But so you're saying hard pass.
I hate to say hard pass, but I think every instance I've seen is explicable in a natural way.
Whether it be waves or otter or fish.
Fish or a tree.
log?
You just didn't get it, you know? Bill's never going to let me use this.
My main problem is just like the number of sightings is like that definitely adds a little bit of credence to it, but when you start to factor in some of the stuff we talked about before, it's harder to say. Boy, if this is a real one, this is quite compelling as well.
I don't know what the fuck that is, but I can't say that it's not fake.
That's where I'm at too, but like, how do you know, like, the same could be said about everything. Like, how do I know it's not fake?
That's what I say about everything.
You don't, dog. Like,
Literally, my life motto is, I don't know.
we don't know. I mean, again, some of them, for sure, I think are just waves. And maybe some of them, it is a picture of the wave, and they're like, this just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Like, this is hard to explain. It seems as though something large was there and then just, like, dove quickly or something, you know? But I get wanting to explain that, too. Also, I recently saw, there's a picture going around right now of a large alligator swimming around in Florida that has, like, a steak knife stabbed into the top of its head.
Badass.
So that's a really weird picture that I can't ever figure out what it is until I see the headline of the article. So that's funny. I mean, it sucks, but I don't know. Anymore, I'm not into... I think that... fuck reptiles, dude. I think I would be fine...
I have a reptile in my house.
Okay, I am a vegetarian. I have been a vegetarian for 12 years at this point.
Yeah, a while.
Fuck alligators. I think I have no problem killing and eating an alligator. I don't know where everybody ended. Final thoughts.
99.9% of the time, it is easily explicable. By
Occam's
something.
razor at this point. Like,
Yeah.
If it's easier, you have to take the fewest assumptions, and if it's easier for you to assume that there is a log in the water and there's some otter swimming by the log, you have to take that over there being an extinct species of
that has
prehistoric thing that hasn't lived for 33 billion to 70 billion years ago.
No body, no teeth, no.
That was a big thing in the
nothing.
Megalodon episode too. Was all of the teeth that were found were fossilized. They weren't like you find shark teeth that aren't fossilized, but you don't find Megalodon teeth that are not fossilized. You don't find these giant bites out of.
Maybe I did a shit job of research, which
I was like,
that's
you did with
already
the
a
9
thing.
goddamn
I
pages
had
that we
9
have
pages
here.
of shit. I didn't see one mention of anything like what that was mentioned at the beginning of the episode about the 2 ancient sauropods and shit. Nothing fossilized in the area stating that there was something even a million years ago or 30 million years ago that lived in the area. Just, it's probably like a log. Logs come in weird shapes. You ever seen a weird shaped log? It could look like it had a head. It has a knob. I don't know.
But okay, so when you have people who are that close to it and see it move in that specific way and like turn its head and look, and you see fins and all those other things too, like some of that seems a little bit like it's not a log.
Maybe I'm pulling.
I could
too
see how
many
some of
strings
it.
in
You think
to
that there is
explain this.
35 instances on this one man's website of more than 35 people, because some instances were like 30 cars worth of people. So we're saying 60 people in that instance saw something moving. And are all of these like people seeing different things? Like sometimes it's a log, sometimes it's a bunch of otters, sometimes it's just like a fucking wave that is made by a boat that somebody didn't see.
Or by something. I don't live around
I'm
water.
really bad at waves. I remember in physics class in high school, I could not fucking figure out whatever the fuck we were trying to do with waves. Right over my head. There was a wave. It was over my head.
That was the way I was with light.
Light is waves too. I don't get it.
Still do not understand whatsoever is coming out of that fucking light bulb.
A
Not a
wave.
clue. But also a particle.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That just like happened until the light bulb
Next
burns
week
out.
on Counting Cryptids,
Light
join
bulbs.
us as we do the cryptid light bulbs. Fuck though, like there is just to me it's not a single thing that could explain it all away, but it is a large population of people knowing of something and they see something odd.
You're ready
and
to
it's
believe.
They're susceptible to it and
Aware of it, susceptible,
Right.
and then you finally see something.
if I went out there right now, after doing this research, even convinced that it wasn't a thing, I bet if I saw something I wasn't familiar with, even, that I might be like, that's an Ogopogo. But knowing me, I would be super critical of myself and be like, no, I'm just fucking stupid. Probably why I don't have any fucking cryptid sightings.
It's really easy for us to talk shit sitting behind our computers,
100%.
not having ever been there or seen it or, you know what I mean, talk to anybody, been in
I
the
have no
field doing that shit.
cryptid sightings to date.
Yeah, it's other than your Easter Bunny experience. That's fine.
Yeah, fuck.
So it's
Discredit my own self.
I'm on the same page. I want to give a little bit of credibility to this but I think with it being explained away as easily as it can, and like, yeah, there's a lot of video and photographic evidence. It's not enough evidence that I can say definitively, like, yes, this is something else. We have an actual photo of something. You know what I mean? Like, yes, of something is very vague. That's not really what I mean, because we have photos of something. Whether or not it's a wave or a log or an otter or a fish or the Ogopogo, for all I know. I don't know. But I do not have enough evidence in those photos for me to definitively say, like, this is what this is a photo of. I cannot then say, but it is more reasonable of me to say, I don't know what this photo is or this video is of, but it is more likely to me that it is just of a group
Easily
of otters swimming.
Yes.
That's my easiest explanation.
Bill, keep fucking looking, because
100%.
if you pull something out of that lake, the world is going to shit its pants.
Please come on our podcast and let us be the first to know.
Please. I will fly.
I would honestly, I would love to go to Canada anyway.
Same.
But that would be a sick excuse. So I'm off the fence thinking that this is
I'm glad we're in
just a
agreement
mass
here,
hysteria
but
thing. I don't want to be. Yeah, I know. I was like,
it's heartbreaking.
You were saying no. It's like, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna go the other way then. But I can't do that. I can't. I gotta lay it out like I actually think. So I can't.
Like, every time, I think every episode that ends in this similar sort of manner where it's essentially bullshit. I feel like every time I get through the research and I fucking believe, I'm in 100%. And then we go through the episode and we talk it out, and I'm just like, but fuck, I can't.
Yeah.
It's depressing.
Yeah.
Why do we do this podcast?
Yeah. You know.
You want to be depressed like us?
Listen to the podcast, but you already are. So
let's get on with it. What's Instagram got to say?
Okay, yeah, we're rolling on. I guess we're done. Why don't you real quick go over social media?
Yeah.
Let us know what you think about Ogopogo. Join us on Discord. That one is really popping off. If you want to have like legitimate conversations with us and with people, like that's a really good place to like engage other listeners and us with conversation and questions and
this
really things like
is a prime fucking example, because
it's a really good way to like share your evidence. Like, you have a specific video in reference to, cool, you link to the video, we can play it right there, we can talk about
everybody
it, stuff
will
like
discuss
that.
it.
Great. Other people pitch in.
Primo. Not to mention, we talk about just about everything else under the fucking sun. So
literally, yeah. Discord's sick.
Join us.
Go join us.
Great time.
Go chat.
The links are in the description.
Okay.
I don't have an easily shareable one.
So checking back in with that Instagram poll we posted at the beginning of the episode to see if people's mothers were earwigs and people's fathers were whales.
And most people went with father whale.
Yeah, I would assume. I don't really want to refer to my mother as an earwig, though my father is in much better shape than myself, and he is twice my age, so it's hard for me to refer to him as a whale. All right, so Instagram poll. Most people said that their father was a whale. Okay.
Father whale.
Go follow us on Instagram, so you will know when we are recording episodes, so you can get in on this. I'm assuming there's no comments, or you would have read them. So why don't we head over to the 1v1? Oh, no, real quick. So after this, we've talked about Ogopogo.
Yes,
Last week, we talked about the Dover Demon. Who do you think would win in a fight?
An escaped orangutan or a bundle of wood?
Well, I'm going to take them at face value for the greatest of what they are. I think Ogopogo has the size advantage, and neither of them have really anything very specifically like
powerful.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Ogopogo, I think, just based on sheer size.
I think I have to. I can't come up with an argument for the latter.
Dover Demon,
so
yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's unfortunate. Like that, it has to be like that. But yeah, it's got to be like that. It'd be like that.
Head on over to social media and let us know what you think about that one. Last episode we asked the same thing about the Dover Demon and Jabba Fofi, or the Congolese giant spider, which I should just fucking been calling it that the last 4 episodes, but I haven't for some reason. But this is what you guys thought.
All right, what's up, guys? Time for the 1v1 results portion of the episode. Unfortunately, Jacob is on vacation, but he did get to pass through Point Pleasant, and so I'm a little bit jealous. But let's get on to the 1v1 results. On Twitter, we had 38% vote for the Dover Demon and 62% for Jabba Fofi. So, yeah. Jabba Fofi takes the win there. Fortunately, it doesn't get too much better for the Dover Demon. On Facebook, 47% of you voted for the Dover Demon, with the remainder 53% voting for Jabba Fofi. Instagram, Dover Demon 40%, Jabba Fofi 60%, and that leaves us with a total of 42% voted for the Dover Demon and 58% voting for Jabba Fofi. So, I think we agreed with that. A giant spider beats a, I don't know, weird alien thing, I guess. Understandable. Thanks for listening to this episode. It is a long one. We recorded for over 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I have been left to do all the things Jacob would, like writing the description for the episode, as well as completely doing all of the editing, whereas Jacob usually has a hand in that at least. But I hope he's enjoying his time in wherever he's at. But thanks again for listening. Have a great couple of weeks, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks. All right, peace.